Well, in this episode, we have an interesting job that we have to do, and that is figure out why the Mercury quit shifting gears. Last night, we had garage night. We met at VFW in Palmetto, and yesterday I did notice when I was trying to shift the car into reverse that it just reverse, it seemed like, was a little sluggish, uh, a little soft, and I thought that was interesting because I hadn't felt that before. But I didn't think too much about it. Was not ramming on the gears, so I had to put the car in reverse twice yesterday while I was at work. Once at work when I got there, and then of course at lunch. And then we got to the VFW, backed into a park spot. Always back into parking spots. But anyways, back in a parking spot. Didn't seem to have see any issues there. Hadn't had time to look at it. I knew something was probably getting loose or something was going on about the brake. Anyways, left VFW to go put gas in the car to head home. Sure enough, I get to the pump, go to put it in the park, and she started going backwards. And that was it. You could do the shifter, and it was it. It was stuck in reverse. I'm like, oh crap, here we go. So that was about 10 o'clock at night, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I thought about getting a scissor jack out. I don't really carry any tools in this car. I don't even have any jacks like I do the other cars that I have. Thought I'd get it I thought about getting it up on the scissor jacks, like crawl underneath, maybe finagle it, do something to make it work. And then I just thought better of it. It was late at night, dark, probably not the best part of town. And after talking my logic through real quick with a couple buddies of mine that come back to hang out with me, that was at garage night until I got a tow truck there. They were like, "Yeah, this sounds like a recipe for 911 with a car laying on your chest." So, not a good idea. So, anyways, called my boss, and he blessed me to have some time off today, and we're going to take a look at this, see if we can fix it. I will give credit to a gentleman that posted a very detailed video on how to replace the cable if that's what it comes to, which is what I expect to find. But we're going to get the car up in the air and inspect it at least, because what I figure I'll find is at the transmission, at the shifter level, that the cable there where it attaches or somewhere in that vicinity has probably broken. The cable does route out of the firewall, under the engine, through several mounts, and then into a large square mount on the frame before attaching to the shifter on the transmission on the driver's side. So we're going to get it up. We're going to get under the car and see if we can verify that that's what's going on. If that is the case, then I'm going to have to try to find a replacement cable. It may be that it's just a clip broke or a bushing that's broken. Maybe I just get a bushing kit. But the video that I watched was on a vehicle that had been in the salt. This one's been in the salt because it comes from New York. And apparently this is a common problem, that it'll basically rust that cable through. And I'm going to bet that's probably what happened here. I don't think it's broke in the column side, but it does look like I could get to it in the column without finagling with the airbag and taking too many panels out. It looks like I can access it pretty easily through the panel where the ignition is at, and then a panel behind that that comes off. So I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. It just depends on how long it's going to take me. Remember, my 1-hour projects turn into a 6-hour adventure, so we'll see how this goes. Well, a quick inspection didn't take very long. There it is. Exactly what the gentleman in the video advised, that this happens on cars that had been up north. As you can see, I mean, it's a solid car, it's a beautiful car, but you can see it's seen some salty roads, unfortunately. So because of that, this got rusted and broke. So I have a cable on order, routes up and through the firewall. Don't know if you can see it real easily, but anyways, I got to start getting cracking on getting all these bracketries loose, because I've got to go into the column and get it loose from the shifter and pull this thing out. They recommend pulling it out through the car and then pulling it back through the firewall to down here. So I got a couple hours, so I'm going to go ahead and start working on that, see if I can get this cable out. All right, so from the bottom side, we're going to need to pop this out. From what I understand, this clip does not come with the cable replacement, so be careful with that. You don't want to break it. This one, I think, just pops open. If not, I've got a plastic puller. We'll pull that loose there, and then it goes on up top side. I think there's a couple more clips up that way, and then we can move into inside of the car. So anyways, either open this up or pop this off completely. It looks like it's just, yeah, it's very brittle actually. I just got that in my eyes. All I did was just push on it just a hair. But it does have like a little lip here, and it seems to snap into place. I'm probably gonna have to just do something different, probably zip tie that, or if I can find another bracket, I will. It'll hold it, but yeah, it was in there. It had a lip, but as soon as I touched it, it broke, so that was brittle. So I'm gonna have to be extremely careful with this. It looks like you just take it from the bottom, and I've got a couple tools down here. Don't know if I can see, I'm probably rolled over them. Brought some needle nose, regular pliers. I wasn't sure, but I figured what I'd be using is the plastic, like push pin pullers or door panel removal tools. I thought that might be the brightest thing to bring underneath here, so I brought them with me along with a screwdriver, and I think I'm going to try to use those plastic tools on this here and hopefully pop that loose without breaking it. All right, as I reposition myself, now I see how this works. And I do not have this tool, of course, but if you see, there's two tabs here. You probably have a knuckle style, you know, pliers that you squeeze, that pulls this open and lifts it right up. Well, of course I don't have that, but I will see if I can get that off using those methods, and I hope that doesn't snap. Yeah, I rolled to the back because I'm like, this isn't moving, so something's holding it in place, and there you have it. Two little nipples on either side, which is why you must have that tool. Squeeze it, because it'll open it up and those nipples will come out. So, okay, I got to figure out how to do that without breaking it. All right, I have it loose without breaking the tab, and basically what I did is I took where the nipples was in here, and I just basically took a screwdriver and I pushed it out, and it was hard to move because obviously it's in a groove, it's all under pressure. But I pulled one nipple out, pushed up just enough where it held on here, took the other one, pulled out, did the same thing. Now I tried to just take my hand and push, but it didn't happen. So once I got those above this hole, I then just took my hand and I just slightly bumped underneath here and it popped right loose. So one done. All right, good news is this didn't break. It actually just snapped right back into place to hold this. So I did break probably a little excess off of here, but it's actually snapped back into place once I got the cable loose. So I will be careful to reopen that, but that's now done. And as of right now, it looks like I'm gonna have to move top side at this point. Now, before I go too much further, some of you may be thinking you still have to deal with the shifter lever because this piece needs to come off and we got to get that nut loose. Yes, that's true, but this is probably going to be, believe it or not, the hardest piece out of it all, even including the column, I'm guessing. So I'm actually waiting till the end to screw around with that before I take off to get the cable, just in case I need something from here. And you know what? There may be more here than meets the eye. Something else is wrong. That shouldn't be lifting. Well, I got a little more inspection. I think we got more problems than just the shifter cable. I think the shifter cable broke. I mean, that is not supposed to do that. So, yeah, that's actually supposed to be clicking. So not only did it rust in half, something else, I think the bushing's gone. Well, I'm not liking that one bit. See, this is supposed to be moving, it's supposed to be moving this piece. Nope, I'm wrong. Okay, I just don't know what the hell I'm talking about. There we go. Yeah, it's working. It just, this has got a, that might need bearing kit though, bushing kit. That seems awful loose and sloppy. I don't know. Well, I guess at this point we'll get the shifter cable on there, and then if I have to... Hey, I'm trying to do a video here. Go away. Anyways, rude ass garbage people coming down my street while I'm trying to do this. Anyways, I don't believe that's supposed to be that loose, but it is working. So, anywho, what was I saying? Yeah, this is last. All right, I'm trying to get a good view of this, but other things are taking the focus. But when I finally find this, see how that's moving around. All right, so that cable basically is now free going into the firewall itself underneath these electronics. So we're going to move inside the car. No other clips. There's going to be some clips underneath the dash here that hold it in place that I already know. And I saw it last night where it rolls in. Oh, here it is. So that's it there. It's in a rubber grommet. It's going to have to be backed off. There's a couple clips up underneath here. But first off, before we go too far, there is a simple push pin here that we pull out. There is a little bolt here that's got to come out. You take the hood release off, parking brake release off, which parking brake is still applied. This top panel will then drop. And then from what I see, once this is dropped, there's going to be an access back here that we can get to where that cable terminates onto the shifter. There's like a, I think, a metal or plastic piece that rolls this way. This also snaps off, which will be crucial to get in there with a puller tool and get that pulled off of the shifter level. And once that's done, and the two clips underneath down here, it's free of those, that should then pull through the car and the cable will be out. All right, I have the panel loose. It actually comes loose from this side actually pretty easily. I would like to get that part down. Believe it or not, that push pin using, and this is a pretty damn strong tool, does not want to let loose. I'm trying not to break it, but if I have to, I will, and I'll go get another one. This is a 7mm bolt that basically holds this and the parking braid up here. It is actually, I don't have a deep well 7mm, but it's actually way up in there further than it looks. But a shallow socket with an extension got to it just fine. So now I've got to get that push pin off without breaking it. Although it's not the end of the world if I do, but that's my goal. I have been pulling and pulling. Actually, it's the first thing I started with this, and it's not coming loose, but we're about to try again. All right, so the push pin just wasn't cooperating. I was doing all my best to try not to manhandle it out. I ended up popping it back into the upper clips here. I just pulled on the side and I just yanked the crap out of it. So it's loose, and I honestly don't even know what happened to the push pin. It's disappeared. It's probably under the seat somewheres, or it snapped in half, went behind that cover, which is probably where my other 15 sockets went, trying to get the blend door actuator access, if you remember that video. Anyways, onto the column. I just realized the push pin is actually still there. So this is what I'm dealing with. This end here is so flimsy, it's actually bending. So I actually pulled the panel, pulled this basically through the panel when I just gave it the old Hulk Hogan move. So we'll deal with that in a little bit. But this is where the cable terminates onto the shifter, and that's what we were trying to get into. Now, instructions are manual's gonna tell you, you got to take this out. But if I take this apart, I can get a tool in there and slowly work that loose. That just basically pops onto a kind of like a tapered stud there. So anyways, get this out of the way, and I think we'll be able to get that loose. I still have to get, as you can see, there's, try to get zoomed in there. Well, I can see it, but the camera is having trouble focusing on it. But there's a clip here that I've got to get loose for the cable. Yep, right there. And I think there's one more over here, but we'll figure it out. Anyways, let me get this off here. I have not unhooked the battery. I should have, but however, I'm not doing anything electronic, and I shouldn't be touching anything electronic. I'll take a gander. But I'm using plastic. I'm not going to be jumpering any points. I'm not touching the airbag, so I don't see any reason to take the battery loose. And just like that, literally in 5 seconds, I stick it in here and it just pulled right loose. All right, so that is up and out of the way. Now I just need to get a tool in here and pop that loose from that tapered stud. So, see that clip there? That's the other one I was thinking about. It's similar to the one underneath the car. I'm not sure if it has nipples on the back, but I'm almost going to guarantee it does. That one also does not come with the replacement kit, from what I understand. So that needs to be pulled loose. And then just like on the other side, that one needs to just be unclipped, and that cable should come out. Now, I'm trying to get it loose from here. I'm using both a straight and an angled. Now, I believe I may end up getting a metal puller for this particular job, because I think this might be a little too heavy and these might be a little too thick to get in there. I'm going to try one more tool that is not built for 90% of the things that I do, but it works almost every time. I'm going to try that, and if that doesn't work, I'm going to call it stop, and then I'm going to go back underneath the car, finish out where the nut is on the shifter, and then while I'm out, maybe I'll see I can get that tool while I'm getting that replacement cable. All right, as I went and got my flashlight, because I'm just going to get an eyeball down in there through a different direction, as I was getting in the car, I happened to notice this. I didn't notice that earlier when I was videoing the panel down here, but is that factory bread tie? And if so, what does white mean? From Ford. And what is that holding? This is all mounted by bolts. We'll just pretend we didn't see that. Moving. All right, she's loose from the shifter. I'm gonna give you all a pro tip. Okay, not a pro tip. How about a shade tree mechanic tip? Yeah, that's much better. get you one of these. Originally was described as a brake tool. It's a scraper. That's all it is. This little tool has got me in these situations, out of these situations. I mean, I stuck that up, bam, where this wouldn't work, even though it's stout, and it should have. Okay? And I didn't want to damage anything, of course. So I end up using this little guy. I've had it about 20 years for everything. Telling you. Universal tool, get one, put it in your arsenal. Simple. Don't look at me that way. I'm telling you, I have used this for so many different applications when working on cars, when I can't get something loose or can't scrape something off, or well, of course it's a scraper, but can't get something loose or pop something loose or leverage something in a tight spot. This tool every time works and it doesn't damage a thing. I'm just saying, if you don't have one, get one, because I use it all the time for all kinds of different apps. I find reasons to use it, and it works every time. And almost every time, whatever it is I'm working on, I'm done within seconds using that tool. Where in some other, get into a tight spot and you just can't get leverage, you can't get it between anything, you can't get anything to pull off, that tool does it. Just saying, simple, easy. I sound like an idiot saying it, but I use it all the time. It saves me. Hopefully it saves you. Moving on. All right, folks, this bread tie thing is killing me. I'm taking this brace out to figure out what the heck that is and what it's doing. No, actually, I'm not. I'm joking with you. Actually, I don't have to take this brace out, but it's just a brace. I think it really is just a backing for that piece of plastic, to be honest with you, and probably to hold, well, there's really not holding anything up there, to be honest with you. 8mm screws, there's 4 of them. Nothing else seems to be attached. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't count. 5. And the only reason why I'm doing that is I can get to that clip easier if this is out of the way. It doesn't seem to be attached to anything else. It just seems to be a plate. So I'm going to drop it out of my way. There is a 3rd clip over here. I think it'll give me better access to it. It'll take me a few extra minutes, but I think it'll make my life so much easier. So I recommend taking this out. See what I mean? 2 minutes. That plate's out. Clear access now, and probably would have been even easier to do that clip. And one more. I mean, there's no good argument on why not to do that. Bread tie, gone. All right, so that's loose now. Again, just 2 little pieces. All you got to do is just pull one up and clock it just a hair. And again, I used this because it's wide and it worked better than down underneath the car on that clip. And then I just got behind it with another screwdriver here, lifted, and then just grabbed it and pulled it. Come right out. I had already undone this. There's one more way up in there I got to get to. Oh, look, once again. And then this cable's pretty much ready to come out. We'll have to pull loose from the firewall that grommet, and then it should just come out. All right, so the one clip is way up above all that, and it is basically push pinned into the back part of the dash. It's the only clip I can't actually physically see. I can just feel. I think I'm just going to get a you know, one of the plastic pullers up there and just pop it actually out of the back of the dash, and I'll leave it on the old cable, so when I get the new cable, I'll take it off of that and place it right where it belongs on the new cable, and then push it right back into the dash. All right, I got it loose. I was trying to get a tool in here. Nothing I did was working, so I just basically got my hands in here and I just yanked the crap out of it and pulled it right out. So again, I see where that goes now. We'll get that put on where it belongs. Is there another clip? I don't think so. It's just a bunch of garbage the way this thing streaks around, just hanging up on a bunch of stuff. So we'll get this out, pop that loose from the firewall. All right, I want to make a note here because the video that I was watching was a Crown Vic. The Crown Vic didn't have this insulation at the firewall like this Mercury does. Probably part of it being a luxury package. So they were able to get a tool right underneath this and pop this loose. But this is so thick, you got to come into the side. And then once you get just one edge popped, then you can take your fingers, and pull the rest. And then now we'll just try our best to get this cable through and get it out of the way. And then we'll go back downstairs under the car and try to take care of that shifter lever. All right, so I'm under the hood because the cable stopped moving, so I knew it was hung up on something. And I just wanted to make sure I pointed this out. All that down in there is where this clip gets hung up on. So while I probably should have pulled the clip off of the cable while I was under the car, would have been easy enough to just didn't think about it. And I'm like, okay. So I just clocked it, ran it up through here, got it out to where I can get a hold of it. And I just pulled this clip off. Now this should feed through the firewall, famous last words, should feed through the firewall. If not, I'll take the clips off the other side and try to come the other direction, but we'll see. All right, cable is out. Once you get the clip off, this is what's going to hang up inside the firewall. So I just basically fed it as far through from the under the hood side until I couldn't push that anymore. And it's just basically because this piece over here just curls up against the seat. So once I had that loose and I got underneath the dash and just pulled the rest of that through, it come right out. So, all right, now I got to get back underneath the car. All right, I want to take a minute while I'm working on this to kind of show you what's going on. So this is the lever where the cable snapped off from. So eyelet's still on here. So I've had the cable out now that I'm making this part of the video almost 30 minutes, 40 minutes ago. And I've been fighting getting this loose. Now, of course, we knew this was going to be rust welded on. Car's been through salt and then just normal elements. So I was trying to break this loose gently. I had oiled it with machine oil just to kind of let that sit. And then I was trying to get it to break loose with a breaker bar. And this lever was literally twisting like that. And I'm like, this thing's going to snap in half. But I ended up taking the breaker bar and I angled it this way, and then all of a sudden it twisted in the way I want it to. And it seemed to be a lot more rigid, you know, that way. So once I did that, it broke loose. But it is fighting me, absolutely, every thread. It is a 19 millimeter. I tried a 20 and it's too sloppy. A 19 barely wants to go on here. 3/4 too sloppy. So anyways, as I'm trying to get this loose, oh, that is an 18 I'm trying to put on there. No wonder it's not working. Yeah, there's my 19. Sorry about that, folks. I grabbed the wrong wrench. Anyways, and it's just for every thread. And I do have gear wrenches, but I'm afraid to use gear wrenches on something this I guess stout, strong, whatever resistance. So I'm just doing this manually. I absolutely believe this lever will be the next part that fails. I can't worry about that today. This is a work day for me. I'm trying to get this finished. Cable's going to be in if it's not already. I got to see if I can make it in for the afternoon at least today at work. So I don't have the option to screw around and go to a junkyard and find another lever or whatever the case may be. But anyways, just letting you know what I'm fighting and how to hopefully combat it if you have to do it. Get your angle out here. It will not twist this lever. It actually kept it straight, and that allowed me to break it loose safely. Because at the end of the day, we have, you know, plastic grommets back there. I don't want to split those. Probably will need to replace them, but for right now, I just gotta get this on the road. All right, I have the new cable now, and as I said before, this does not come with the new cable, so we will transfer that over. This is the clip that was behind that dashboard. I need to transfer over to here. Looks like it may already have a clip, and I might use that instead of screwing with this, because the other two are in the car. I can just snap it in. firewall grommet. And then this will go here. And this is the piece that basically rusted in half. And that's it. So only 2 auto parts places even carried them. Napa and Advance said they don't order them. It's a dealer part only. But Advance couldn't get it in until 2. O'Reilly's got it in by 10. There's the number. So that's why I went with O'Reilly's. It was most expensive than all of them at $97 plus tax, but they got it in faster than the others. And I could not get a hold of our local dealer. Apparently they have golfer's hours. So anyways, pay no mind of my cluttered workbench and my other cluttered workbench. Par for the course. Here we go. All right, the cable is now connected back to the shifter. Clipped back in here into this holder, and that one clip up there I said I was going to use, yeah, that's not what that push pin clip was for. It's actually for this, but I'm going to use the factory. So I did transplant the other clip, original clip off the original cable onto this one. Now, to safely snap this in there, I just basically took a socket about the same size, and I took a little rubber mallet and I smacked this maybe once or twice, and it popped right on. I want to also tell you that while the front end was in the air, and this piece here is off, that universal brake tool, I simply turned the wheel and I was able to get down in there to that shifter cable and pull it apart. As you can see here, it's not coming off. So that's done. I'll button the interior up once I'm done with finishing routing. I've actually already run the cable down through where it was before. Not sure if you can see that real easily, but anyways, it was basically between these 2 pieces of metal. My assumption is that's why this plastic sheave is here. This might be just a holder for it. Anyways, so I'm going to be going under the car to reclip everything back in. All right, so it's actually the next morning after replacing the transmission shifter cable on the NorSea Cruiser. I actually had to stop filming. We did have some friends, Richard Bacon and Sean D'Agostino, come by after picking up their transmission, which is in another video. We'll be following up on that as we put it back in. Anyways, I had to stop filming because I had to get this thing done and get to work, even though it was getting later in the day. I had to salvage some time on a project that I'm working. So anyways, so we got the cable in. It actually went in very well. Got it lined up. I will get a picture of this as I'm describing it. But on the transmission, when you hook up the cable to the shift lever and swing arm, you're supposed to, according to the videos and instructions that I have read and watched, you're supposed to have the shifter lever or the transmission in drive, which you then lock down because it's a oblong connector. Lock that down, and well, before you lock it down, you get it in place, take the slack out in drive, and then lock it down, and then put it in park. And when you put it in park, I believe, or in drive, now I'm starting to forget. But anyways, there are indicators. There's a line on the plastic O-ring on the shift lever, and then there's a line on the casting and the transmission. They're supposed to line up perfectly. From what I could tell, they were. But we would put it in park, and it would still be in reverse. So I'll kind of try to demonstrate the best I can here. So what would happen is we would have them put it in drive, or what we thought was drive by shifter lever, and that's how I was locking it down. I believe we were not in, actually that's, I think, neutral. Yeah, because you put it in drive, it comes back up, right? So I believe that could have been second gear, according to the transmission down there. And I wasn't catching on to that. So we would lock it down. We would put it into what we thought was park, which it's parked now. Foot's off the brake, it's not moving. But then it would start backing up. And the weird part was we could crank the car up, which doesn't make sense to me because if it's truly in reverse, which it was, then it shouldn't have cranked up because neutral safety switch would have prevented that. It's possible that was actually neutral, to be honest with you, the more I thought about it. Now, I did this 2 or 3 times trying to get it right, which what I thought was drive. And then I thought better of it and said, why don't I make sure the transmission itself was in drive? So I put the shift lever all the way back, which is park, and then I clicked reverse, clicked drive. Okay, that should be drive, right? So I then locked it down, took up the slack on the cable there, and then we put it back into park, and that seems to work. Now we have park, we have the slight disengagement on the shift lever that's controlled up here before you get into reverse. We get into reverse, it goes back, put it into drive, it goes forward. Here's where it gets kind of funny. I can force it into second gear. I cannot get it into first gear, granny low. So honestly, it's a Florida car. We're in Florida. I'm not driving in snow. I'm not driving in sand, and I'm not drag racing off the line in first gear manually. So I don't care. As long as I have park, reverse, neutral drive, I'm okay with that because that's all I'm using, right? I do want to fix that. I want everything working right, obviously. What I think is going on here, because the cable is aftermarket, I don't believe it has as much travel as the original cable. Still shouldn't matter. But remember the grommet um, was real loose, the grommet area on the shifter itself, where the swing arm was on the transmission, that's sloppy. And I think that's working against us. So most likely I will end up ordering a grommet kit for that. And I'll put in a grommet kit, see if I can't tighten that up. And if that's the case, once that swing arm is not as sloppy and moving around, I'll readjust the cable, and I'll bet you I'll have all the gears like I'm supposed to. So anyway, so we got it on the road. I finally got to work. Had to stay late to finish up some things that was due for that day on the project, but at least the car is now driving properly again. It's got a new cable in. So anyways, thank you guys for following on my emergency fix on the Mercury. I hope the steps that I took and showed you will help you if you have the same problem on a Crown Vic or a Grand Marquis of this year. From what I understand, it's the same on 2009s as on 2010s. Not sure about 2008s. I do know earlier models are different. I was watching a video on a 2001. It was not the same cable and linkage. It was different. Or at least on the video, it looked different. But anywho, yeah. So you guys have a blessed day. Take care. Oh, guess what? We'll see you on the streets.